Happy Summer Solstice, everyone! Welcome to the MOAS Summer Baking Series. We are kicking off a summer-long series of baking tutorials. Some baking, a couple of non-baking recipes, which are going to be great for the kids during this time. So to start things off, we will be baking a Lemon Blueberry Buttermilk Cake with Cream Cheese Icing. So let's get started with our list of ingredients. Let's get started with our ingredients. 8-ounce buttermilk, 3 ounces of vegetable oil, 3 large eggs, can't see, but 3 large eggs, 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of lemon extract. You're gonna need 13 ounces of cake flour, then you'll need 12 ounces of sugar, then you're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of baking soda, 8 ounces of unsalted butter, and this will need to be room temperature, 2 cups of blueberries, and you'll need some all-purpose flour to toss those in. So the first step is we're going to be working with our buttermilk. So I'm going to clear out some of the ingredients and we'll get started on the first step. So we will need our lemon flavorings, so the lemon extract, lemon zest, and lemon juice, our buttermilk, and our oil. Our first step, we are going to add some ingredients to our buttermilk. So you'll start with 8 ounces of buttermilk. You'll need to separate those by 4 ounces. So I have 4 ounces here, and then I have 4 ounces in this bowl here. Now the first 4 ounces, I'm going to just add that oil. So the 3 ounces of vegetable oil, we're gonna add in with that buttermilk. Just grab a spoon. Give it a little mix, not that it's, all right. We're gonna add the oil to 4 ounces of buttermilk. Next, we're gonna add in our 3 eggs, the lemon zest, the lemon juice, and the lemon extract to the other 4 ounces of buttermilk. And then we will whisk those ingredients together. Oops. I am by no means proclaiming to be a professional baker. I just saw this recipe one day when I was scrolling through Facebook, and just the picture of the final product alone told me you need to make this because it looks so good. So we're gonna whisk those ingredients together, break up those egg yolks. Probably could have used a bigger bowl. We will get those ingredients mixed together well. Perfect. And then we'll move on to step number 2. For step number 2, we're going to place our buttermilk mixtures to the side, and then we're going to take our flour. So this is recommended to use a stand mixer. They recommend, of course, a KitchenAid with a paddle attachment. I have neither of those things, so I'm just going to make do with what I have. This is my mixer. I have whisk attachments, and they're gonna have to work. So this is as big a bowl as I have, and it's again gonna have to work. So you're gonna mix your flour. You're gonna put your flour, your sugar, baking soda and baking powder, and your salt into your stand mixer. to place in small chunks of the butter. This is why the butter needed to be room temperature. It's easier to break apart, and the mixing is a little bit easier. And like I said, this is not the best mixer, but it'll get the job done. So we're gonna get started mixing at that first setting, and I'm gonna slowly add in the 8 ounces of butter in small pieces until it looks like a coarse sand. And so once it looks like a coarse sand, we're gonna add in the buttermilk mixtures, and we'll go from there. If I don't control it with my hand a little bit, it goes a little bit haywire, so yeah, I'm just gonna... Okay, so I've mixed in all the butter, and then from here, we're going to add in the buttermilk mixture. Okay, let's add in those other mixtures. Okay, let's see. This is our cake batter. So I'd say it's mixed pretty well, and it looks pretty good. So let's move on to our next step. All right, we have our cake batter, as you can see here, and I've preset my oven to 350 degrees. So that's warming up now, and this recipe yields for a 2-layer cake, so 2 8x2-inch baking pans, but you can use whatever baking pan you want. If you don't have these kind, you can certainly just do a sheet cake or whatever size pan you have. You can use it. So I am going to spray my pans with some baking non-stick spray. And then I'm going to say a prayer over these pans, because the last time I made this cake, my 2-tier cake was only a 1-tier cake because one pan did not release my cake the way I wanted it to. So we are going to try to avoid that today by really greasing up our pans. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you get those sides probably oversprayed, but I want that cake to come out so easily. Okay, so we're gonna fill up our pans halfway each. You'll see that the batter is kind of thick, not really runny or anything like that, and that's what we want. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining outside right now. And I know that summer is all about being out in the sun and being outside, but living in Florida, there's all those nice little afternoon rainstorms. So what better time to bake a cake than when you're inside taking a break from all the sun and trying to get away from those afternoon thunderstorms. So we are going to do our best to provide you with some great options for that time. All right, so you want to kind of flatten them out. gonna bake for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're going to add in our second round of blueberries from there. So another important note, we're gonna add in our first blueberries, but do not stir them in. I did stir them in the first time I made this. I mean, the cake was still delicious, but I felt bad not following the directions to a T. So we're putting in our blueberries. Then as soon as the oven is heated and ready to go, we will slide these in and we'll check them in 10-15 minutes. Okay, so these are gonna go in for 15 minutes, and then we are going to put in our second round of blueberries. I was supposed to toss those original blueberries in some flour, but it's okay. I'm sure they'll be fine. We'll check them in 15 minutes, and then we'll add our flour tossed blueberries in as a second round. Hey guys, we're back. It's been 15 minutes, so I am going to put in our second round of blueberries. These I have tossed in flour like the recipe said. And then once you get your blueberries, your second batch of blueberries in, you're gonna bake for another 15 minutes, and then we're gonna check for doneness. So we're gonna slide these back in and check on them again in 15 minutes. The cakes have baked for about 45 minutes now, and we're gonna check them again just to see where we're at. See if they're ready. That one looks pretty good. And it looks like they're baked all the way through. So we're gonna pull these out and let them cool. Okay, so we're gonna let these cool until they are barely warm. Okay, our cakes are out of the oven. We're gonna let these cool as long as they need to where they're barely warm. Now this is where I made my mistake when I first baked this. I did not wait, I was impatient, and that resulted in one of my cakes not depanning properly, and that's why I only ended up with one tier. So we're gonna give this all the time it needs, probably about 30 to 40 minutes just to cool off. And then from there, we will we'll start tiering it up. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and start making our icing. Our cakes are still cooling. I'd say they still have a little bit of a ways to go. But while they're cooling, we're going to dive into making the icing. And the icing is pretty simple. You just need 16 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of the unsalted butter, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, and then 32 ounces of confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar. I don't know that I'm going to be using all of the confectioner's sugar. I'll just use as much as I see fit, as much as I think that I need. And you can do the same, just kind of use your best judgment. When you see a good consistency and you think that you have enough icing to cover your cakes. I didn't need to use 32 ounces last time I made this. So let's get started on making our icing. The first step to making the icing is going to be placing the butter in your stand mixer. So we're going to place our butter like so. And again, the butter and the cream cheese need to be room temperature. So we're going to mix this on the lowest setting until it's pretty creamy. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the cream cheese, and like we did with the butter to make the cake batter, we're going to mix it in little bits at a time. So we're just gonna go ahead and put a chunk in there to start. Remember, we're gonna mix it on the lowest setting. So now what we're going to do is add in our salts and our lemon extract, and then we are going to combine the powdered sugar like the cream cheese, just little bits at a time. And here we go. Is very good. Okay, so you can see how our icing looks now. It's very light and fluffy, and that's what we want. I'm just gonna let it chill, and then we are going to ice our cakes and also pray that our cake comes out of the pan like it should. Okay, I'll see you guys in just a little bit, and we'll go from there. I have to admit, I am extremely nervous about this part, but there's no more procrastinating. I think it is time to try and depan. So if you remember, I am 0 for 1 on perfect depanning here with the baking tutorials. When we baked the Coca-Cola cake, a section of that cake did not come out of the pan, and we did fix it with extra icing. We will probably still have that ability to fix it if necessary, but I'd rather just everything be perfect. Okay, so here we go. What is the best way to do this? I think the easiest way is going to be putting the baking cooling rack on one side, like this, and doing that, and hoping. No? Oh my god, I think Guys, it worked! Oh man, look at that. Okay. We're gonna just slide that up. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, and then we're going to, I don't know, since I already have one on here, let's just do that. Okay. Let's knock it. Guys, we're 2 for 2. Okay, we've perfectly decanned. I'm so excited. Okay. So we're going to let these continue to cool because the bottoms are still a little bit warm. And then when we get to a good temperature, we are going to ice this baby up. Here we are. I have a 10-inch round cake. I guess it's like a platter. That's what I'm going to use to ice it on. So I've put a little bit of icing just to keep the cake in place. And we are going to put down our first layer in hopes that it stays intact. cake number 1. So then we're just going to do a thin layer of icing here, which will work since it broke up a little bit. And I am no means very good at this. I'm just baking it until I make it. So if you have like a piping bag or something, and you're an expert icer, you can skip on to the next step, do what you gotta do. But I am not very good at this, so I'm just going to do the best I can. I watch all those baking shows and try to acquire skills, but you know, practice makes perfect, I guess. Okay. Oh guys, I'm so excited that both cakes came out of the pan. You have no idea how stressful that is. Okay. Woohoo. Right. So in order to maintain a level top, we will be placing this this cake on like so. Where does that look? Guys, it's looking so good. Okay, here we are, and our cake is iced. Now to garnish, you're gonna need some blueberries that are tossed in that flour. And I'm just going to sprinkle a few of those on top here around the top of the cake. A little bit closer to the edge. Now I'm just going off of the picture that I found online, the recipe, and it was sprinkled like this. Again, I'm not an expert, so we're just baking it until we make it. Every time I look at a spot, I feel like it needs more blueberries. Okay, so we have our cake top, and then you can thinly slice some lemons if you'd like, and just kind of place them around the base. So make sure you want to take the seeds out of the lemons. That wouldn't be fun to bite into. Okay, hopefully I have enough rows. And there you have it, our lemon blueberry cake. There you have it, lemon blueberry buttermilk cake with cream cheese icing. I hope that you all enjoyed the baking tutorial today. If you have any suggestions or tips for me, please send those my way. Like I said, I'm not an expert by any means. But if you do decide to bake today's cake, please tag us in any photos that you have. We want to see your baking skills. On Facebook, it's at MOAS Daytona. We look forward to seeing your pictures come in, and look through our videos for the previous bakes if you are just finding out about them now. We've done pretzels, soft pretzels, a Coca-Cola cake, beignets, and this is our fourth bake, the Lemon Blueberry Buttermilk Cake. So until next time, enjoy and happy summer!